So there's some people like myself, let's say your property is a 200, you buy it for $250,000. You know, if they reassess it, it's going to be, $400,000 now because it's gone up faster than your appraised value. If that's the case, if your assessment is under market value, and whether it's with y'all or by themselves, is it worth, like, what good can it do if you protest that? Like, say, for example, in Austin again, I've got a homestead exemption, right? And it can only go up 10% according to the state, but the value is a lot more. Is it worth even looking into if you're an individual? Obviously, y'all are going to do a
Yeah.
lot of the legwork if not, but if I'm trying to save a couple bucks and doing it myself, does it even make sense to try?
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are really kind of two different situations. I'll touch on the homestead exemption piece because I think what you're getting at is a common misconception. I mean, you're exactly right. In pretty much every market, whether they call it a homestead exemption or not, your primary residence can benefit from these exemptions or other forms of relief, which will lower your tax bill. But even if you have that exemption, protesting is still a good idea. And the reason for that is, you're setting a lower baseline for future kind of assessment increases. And the other thing that may be really relevant for this audience, and is something I've gone through personally here recently, is I am an accidental landlord, and my old primary residence is now a rental property. And when that exemption falls off, I'm eating the full burden of that increase in market value, right? So by keeping your market value in check, even if you don't see it translate to tax savings today, can have that benefit in the future. So that's really, really important.
Gotcha. Thank you very much for that. I always wondered. I was like, I'm protesting, but what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, going back to your first part of the question, yeah, there are some situations where it is very obvious that the property is underassessed. Something that's not exactly the same, but that we see a lot of the time is, hey, I just purchased this property, let's say in November or December of last year. And because most of these counties are assessing your property as of January 1st of each year, there's very little time between when you purchased and that valuation date. And if you have been assessed at or below purchase price, and assuming that your purchase was an arm's length transaction, kind of a valid, fully marketed sale, you're going to have very little argument to make going in there and say, hey, I think it should be
Cut that
assessed
one out.
lower. Well, then why did you purchase it at said price? So there are situations where it is tough. And, if you're busy and there's other higher priorities, sure. Right. But it's at least going through that exercise of taking a look and seeing if there's something you're missing or another argument that could be made for that lower value.